Well, we have a special election in Syracuse this year, and so my name is Raymond Cetera. I'm running for the City Councilor at Large position in Syracuse, the same position that I ran for last year. And I've been fortunate to learn over the past 10 years or so about why it's important to run as a Green, even if you don't win. And I've run twice now for City Council, once in 2015 and once in 2017. In 15, I got about 20% of the vote in a three-way race, Republican, Democrat, Green. And in 2017, in a four-way race for two open at-large seats, I got 9% of the total vote, which means that about 18 or 19% of the voters actually selected me on their ballot as one of their two choices. So I've maintained a position in the city and on the ballot line that is significant, right? And that enables the Democrats, right, to not take anybody for granted, any vote for granted, or any ballot for granted. Okay? And in Syracuse, the Republicans are very weak, very weak. Even though they still get many votes, because there are a decent number of registered Republicans in the city, what we need to do is keep growing our message and keep reaching them with our message so that eventually they get to the point of understanding the issues, right, and being on the same page with us as the issues and not just looking at that ballot line designation. So how am I going to continue to grow my position on the ballot line, our Greens' presence in the city, and hopefully lead that to a winning proposition at some point? Well, we can continue to work on the issues in between the election cycles. So in 2015, there was an appointment for an open seat of the position that I ran for, and I applied for it. And our city council actually, in our rules and procedures, has the ability to just appoint, as probably many other cities do, appoint open positions per the whim of the sitting councilors. And I brought that to the media attention then. That happened again this past year, and I continue to bring that to the media attention, going so far as to call for a specific set of procedures that they could implement based upon what happened in Seattle, Washington last year as well. And so even though once again the outcome was the sitting councilors selecting someone from their own Democratic Party to fill that race, now I actually sat down last week with one of those sitting Democratic councilors, and we crafted language to change the city charter so that no longer will it be appointment by the city council, but so that it will be special election for those open seats. And then lastly, I've been listening to the stories, and I know one of my advisors says you have to keep working on your story of self, right? You've got to be able to tell that story and why you're up there. And I think I tell that story by talking about these issues that I work on, right? In between the elections, that's who I am. I'm not just jumping from election to election, and I know none of our candidates are probably doing that, but it's important to communicate that to the voting public and to the supporters so they don't just see you on the ballot line, because I think you may have heard this in the past too, right, that the Greens only show up for election day when we know that we don't. All right, so that's the story of self that I'm trying to communicate in my campaigns, is what have I been working on. And a big thing that's happening in New York, but that hasn't come to Syracuse yet, is employee ownership and cooperative business development. And New York City has put millions of dollars towards it. Rochester has put hundreds of thousands of dollars to it. Buffalo even has a program that has been integrated. And I'm bringing that to Syracuse now to the best of my ability by creating a coalition and alliance of individuals who want to work on the issue of community wealth. We have such a low level of capital in our poor neighborhoods, and we see continually that businesses are shutting down. The story continues. Fair Rubbish, which is one of the trash collection agencies in our area, just recently closed down their doors and their business with no notice to the employees. And so what we're doing is working alongside Senator Gillibrand, actually, to bring the message of her Main Street Employee Ownership Act that reduces the hurdles for SBA funding for employee ownership, bringing that to the forefront and working with small business owners as well as new cooperatives to get them to transition to employee ownership, so that when it comes time for a business to make hard decisions, it's not a surprise to everyone, and that it's open and transparent process, and that the employees and the worker owners have the ability to make those decisions as well. So those are part of my stories, and I appreciate your time. Thank you. Please pay attention to the special election in Syracuse, New York. Appreciate it.